Welcome back to another video tutorial brought to you by thevirtualinstructor.com. Today we're going to look at this fading text effect. It's easy to accomplish in Adobe Flash CS4, so let's get started. You want to open up a new file, a new document. ActionScript 3.0 is fine. And then we're just going to grab our text tool and we're going to click once. You don't want a text box. And I'm going to go ahead and type out some text. Fading text works for me. And then I'm going to modify it, so I'll use the black arrow and move it into place, and I'll go up to Modify, Transform, and Scale, make it a little bit bigger so it's a little bit easier for everyone to see. Now the next thing you want to do is right click on the text, and we're actually going to break this apart. So right click and select Break Apart, and you can see these little boxes come up. The next thing you want to do is right click again and select Distribute to Layers, and each one of your letters goes to its own layer. So we'll start with the F layer, and you'll just want to right click on that, and then this time convert to symbol. We're going to turn it into a movie clip symbol, and I'm going to name each letter. I'm going to do this to every letter. I'm going to name each letter the actual letter that it is. So F for F, A for A, D for D, and we'll speed this up. This takes just a few minutes to do. So all I'm doing is converting each letter to a symbol, specifically a movie clip symbol. Now we'll slow it down right here because when you get to T, you've already named a T, so we're going to name it T2. You can't name two symbols the same thing. So now we've got all our symbols. Now we're going to go out to about frame 20, and I'm going to go ahead and insert keyframes all across all the layers on frame 20. So you'll hold down Shift and select all of them, right click, insert keyframe, and they'll be extended out. So that's what we've got so far. Now you're going to want to use the black arrow tool and select the text. And then in your properties menu, we'll pull that over here so you can see it. We're going to change the color effect under style. And we're going to select alpha, and we're going to pull alpha all the way down to 0. Now alpha changes the transparency of the color. So this is what it looks like at 42%. This is what it looks like at 0. Of course you can't see anything. All right. So the next thing you want to do is go back, and we're going to insert a classic tween in between each one of those keyframes. So we'll do that really quickly. Just inserting regular old classic tweens. Now if we were to export this, this is what it would look like. Just kind of flashing up there for a second. It's not really what we're going for. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select each individual tween and a little small animation and spread it out so it's a little spread out, so we've got a little bit of variety in what's going on with the animation. So I'm just holding down Shift and then selecting each little section. So I'll click on the first keyframe, hold down Shift and select the end, and then I'm pulling it to a random spot in our timeline. And it's not totally random. I'm kind of thinking about how I want things to fade in and fade out. And you'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. Now I want the E and the X to fade out last. Why? I don't know. I think X is a cool letter, so we'll let it stay up there to the end. So I'll put it in place. And actually I want to move that back a little bit. So when I move it back, you can see what happens. If I go back over here, you can see that when I slide it over to the left, a little bit of those keyframes stay around. So we'll just right click and hold Shift, or actually hold Shift and select all those keyframes, right click, and then remove the frames to get rid of them. There we go. And we'll move our last T into place. And if we take a look at what we've got now, by hitting Control Enter or Command Return, you can see we've got just letters all over the place. They're just flashing up there. They don't really even make sense. Okay, so we need to do something about that. So I'm going to select on the first keyframe in our little series, and I'm going to copy that frame, and then I'm going to paste it into the very first frame. Then I'm going to remove the tween that's left over. Okay, so I'm copying that first frame. So right click, copy the frame. And then I'm going to the first frame in the series. I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste the frame. Now the tween comes over too, so you've got to right click in there and remove the tween. So we'll right click and remove the tween. And there we go. And we'll speed that process up because that takes just a few minutes to copy the frame, paste the frame, and then remove the tween. We want to do that for every single layer, every single letter. I don't know, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to have some letters that just flash up there. It's up to you. So here we are on our last one. We'll copy that frame, and then we'll paste that frame, and then again we'll right click and remove the tween, and we'll see what we've got. We should have what we wanted to have, and there we go, the fading text disappearing. So this has been another video tutorial brought to you by thevirtualinstructor.com. Enjoy creating fading text.